Hello, this is Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates, and I'm in San Francisco, and I'm going to be speaking about Alcatraz. If you'll look in the background, it's about as close as I could get, folks, I'm sorry, but that is Alcatraz, the famous island prison. And the title of the video today is Are you in Alcatraz due to your issues? When I was thinking about making the video today of a prison, a famous prison, it just got me thinking about how our addictions and how our issues really do imprison us. And I thought I would have some fun with my love for San Francisco and just the topic of addiction and the pain and consequence of our issues. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in some fun Alcatraz trivia pieces with emphasis on recovery, work, and addiction. So we'll see how it goes. I've got dogs barking and fighting and bicyclists and walkers, and we'll see how it goes. So the first Al Capone or Alcatraz related trivia is Al Capone played the banjo in the inmate band. I did not know that. The notorious gangster and mob boss was among the first prisoners to occupy the new Alcatraz federal prison in August of 1934. Al Capone had bribed the guards to receive preferential treatment while serving his tax evasion sentence in Atlanta, but that changed after his transfer to the island prison. The conditions broke Al Capone. It looked like Alcatraz has got me licked, he said to the warden. In fact, convict number 85 became so cooperative that he was permitted to play the banjo in the Alcatraz prison band, and it's called the Rock Islanders, which gave regular Sunday concerts for the other inmates. So, in talking about issues and addictions, I don't know yours, but there's a myth out there that only, very few people have addictions and it's usually alcohol or drugs. No, everybody has addictions, people. Everybody. I'm going to list 10 of mine. They're either an addiction or compulsion or an issue. They may not be as compellingly newsworthy as heroin or meth or drinking and driving type of alcoholism, but they are addictions nonetheless. So one that I struggle with is food addiction. We were raised growing up not around alcohol. We were raised around a lot of food, and my mother sort of taught us to associate nurturing with food, and it is an addictive behavior. So another compulsion that I have that causes me to act badly would be not being heard. So whenever I'm in a conversation and I'm not being heard, it lends itself to me being reactive. Another compulsive behavior that I have is abandonment issues, and my abandonment issues do have me doing a little time in Alcatraz, let me tell you, because I manufacture things in my head that are painful, and that's really not fun. Another painful thing that I struggle with is fear of engulfment. Sometimes in couple conflict, my fiance gets a little too close and gets a little too, doesn't give me my space, and that conjures up engulfment from my childhood. And that's it feels prison-like. It does. Loss of control, spending addiction. My spending addiction isn't at a fancy store, it's at Sam's Club is where I struggle, and Costco, those are the places. My obliviousness, I think, is a prison for the people around me, and it ultimately causes me issues. Certainly, if I'm not being heard and if my engulfment issues are kicked in, I can rage. Another thing that has me in Alcatraz is sometimes I allow people to disrespect me. I'm getting better with that. I'd rather not be in a relationship if I'm going to be disrespected. I'd just rather not have that relationship at all. I've got issues around sleep, and probably I give you 11 actually. And another one that I struggled with more, this is more 8 years ago, that put me in the biggest prison cell that I've ever been in, and that's relationship addiction. And not having good boundaries in that way. So getting back to the fun Alcatraz factoids, there has never been a confirmed escape from the island of Alcatraz. A total of 36 inmates have given it their best efforts, but the escape-proof Alcatraz has been put to the test those 36 times. Of those conflicts, 23 were captured, 6 of them were shot to death, and 5 other went missing and were presumed drowned, including Frank Morris and the brothers John and Clarence Anglin, whose 1962 breakout attempt inspired the 1975 great movie Escape from Alcatraz. The crafty trio chipped away at the rotting concrete cell walls with sharpened spoons and fashioned decoy heads for their beds, complete with used locks from the hair from the barbershop that they had placed on their beds to fool the guards. Their possessions were found floating in the San Francisco Bay, but no bodies were ever recovered, leading some to speculate that they may have engineered a successful escape, but that's doubtful because no one's ever heard of them. It seems like it would have eventually come out if they had truly escaped. Jail cells are consequences, and my relationship addiction 8 years ago caused a divorce. It caused financial problems. It negatively impacted my children. My food addiction. Yesterday, I came to California. I didn't bring a pair of shorts, and it is cool here, and I haven't really missed my shorts, but I had a mind to go to the Gap yesterday and get me some shorts. And, my food addiction has precluded me from purchasing shorts at the Gap, because if 38 waist is as high as they go, and mine, I'm not going to tell you what mine is, but it's higher than 38. So that's a prison. I'm joking about it, but it's really not funny. Allowing disrespect destroys relationships, and rather than repairing relationships, it causes relationships to be destroyed. So another Alcatraz fact: in spite of his nickname, the Birdman of Alcatraz actually had no birds in prison. While Robert Stroud was serving a manslaughter sentence for killing a bartender in a brawl, He fatally stabbed a guard at Leavenworth Prison in 1916. After President Woodrow Wilson commuted his death sentence to a life of permanent solitary confinement, Stroud began to study bird diseases and write and illustrate 2 books and raise canaries and other birds in his Leavenworth cell. He was ordered to give up his birds in 1931, and he was banned from having any bird cellmates during his 17 years inside Alcatraz, which began in 1942. The 1962 movie, The Birdman of Alcatraz, which earned Burt Lancaster an Academy Award nomination just weeks before The Rock closed, was largely fictitious. Great movie, no birds in Alcatraz. So the way to get out of prison, whether your prison is a horrible marriage, a loveless marriage, a marriage where there's lots of fighting, whether your prison cell, your Alcatraz is alcoholism, maybe your alcoholism or your Alcatraz is sexual addiction, maybe your Alcatraz is depression, maybe your Alcatraz is thinking seriously about suicide. Maybe your Alcatraz is a food addiction or a work addiction. But what I espouse and what Family Trees espouses is recovery work. And recovery starts with your psychological defenses being down. You're humbled, you're broken, you're teachable, you're looking for answers. Your heart has opened up where you're teachable and you are looking for answers. You're open to God, you're open to a therapist, you're open to 12-step work, you're open to do anything you got to do to get out of Alcatraz because you're tired of being imprisoned. The second part of recovery is having insight. It's great to have your walls down, but if somebody gives you the wrong GPS system, you're going to be lost as a goose. Tell you what, you're not going to have any right direction, and your life isn't going to get better. So many times people are ready to do work, and they go to a terrible therapist who tries to fix their marriage, which is the wrong thing to do. Let's the 3 of us just brainstorm about how we might make your marriage better. It's silly. It's never going to work. It's going to work with less than 1% of the couples that we work with. The appropriate thing to do is to figure out who both parties are, where they came from, what's in their family tree, and why they married who they married, and to shift both of them out of victim mentality. That's what'll help a marriage. So, number 1, being humble and broken, having your psychological defenses down. Number 2 is gaining lots of insight. The more you know, the better, which is what our YouTube channel is all about, is giving you more and more and more insight. It's what my books are about. If you need to learn about your jealousy, your irrational jealousy, you got to get a hold of my book on abandonment, managing abandonment issues through recovery. The third thing about recovery, it gets hard, it gets harder. Yeah, your walls are down. Yeah, you're learning a lot of uncomfortable truth, but there's a wounded little kid at your core, and that wounded little kid needs to come up and needs to come out, and needs to bubble up and needs to bubble out, and that's painful stuff, people. You will cry your guts out. It'll feel like vomiting. It'll be so painful. But that's what washes you out, and that's what helps you to become emotionally more healed than what you were, by crying your guts out again and again and again and again. And then the 4th stage of recovery is you get better. You start to get healthy. So your walls are down, your mind is open, your heart is pouring forth deep wounds from your childhood. I'm reminded of the scene in Good Will Hunting where the Good Will Hunting character is just crying his guts out as Robin Williams tells him, it's not your fault. It's really not your fault. So one last Alcatraz factoid is inmates often requested transfers to Alcatraz. While it wasn't Club Med, its tough-as-nails reputation was a bit of a Hollywood creation. It really wasn't so tough. The prison's one-man cell policy, one man per cell, appealed to some inmates because it made them less vulnerable to attack by fellow inmates. Its first warden, James Johnson, knew poor food was often the cause of prison riots, so he had good food at Alcatraz, and the inmates could go back and eat as many helpings as they wanted. I wonder if there were a lot of fat inmates at Alcatraz. I don't know. And inmates who behaved badly who behaved well, not badly, had access to privileges including monthly movies and a library with 15,000 books and 75 popular magazine prescriptions. So I tell you what, you look out the window and be in the San Francisco Bay and you can eat as much good food as you can handle and read all the good books and movies and magazines. And so overall, some prisoners considered the conditions inside Alcatraz to be more attractive than any other federal prison, and several asked, please move me there. So people, I hope this was fun for you. It was fun for me. I love San Francisco, and I thought it was cool to look at Alcatraz in the background. But your actual points of pain and prisons in your life are not a laughing matter. They're not funny. They're serious. And I encourage you to get the help you need and to call us, because we know what we're doing. We're very good. We're very good at what we do. And all the staff that work at Family Tree, I have trained. So if you haven't joined our YouTube channel, do that. We're up to about 207 or so videos, and they will change your life. And it's a lot of free therapy. And also visit our website, familytreecounseling.com. Wave to the camera. That's some guy who's made his appearance on our YouTube channel, and he's happy to do it. But our website is familytreecounseling.com, and there are 6 books. And if you need insight, and you do, you'll have insight about abandonment, you'll have insight about shame, you'll have insight about how to recover from an affair, you have insight about marital issues, you'll have insight about counterdependency as a man. So get out of jail, people. Let's bust out of jail together. And give us a call, and we'll give you the help that you need. And, you know, there's no easy outs. People just didn't swim out of Alcatraz and make it out easy. You know, if any got out, they worked darn hard at it. And you'll have to work darn hard at your recovery to get out and to live a life free of addiction and a life that's really blessed. So thank you for watching the video today, and God bless.